We're going to do an overall body flow this morning. This is one that the Ashtangi, or there we go, the yogi that taught us, that I did my teacher training with, Lynne Baum. This is one of her flows, and it's normally for more of a 90-minute class. So, because I'm trying to mix up a few things here and maybe load this one up to YouTube as well for those that only watch them on YouTube. I'll see if I can modify a little bit to fit it into the hour. So we'll get our low back, our hips, and our legs. So it should be quite nice. It moves a little bit more at the beginning, kind of in the style of a Paul Grilly flow. So, oh, good morning, Paula. So you might find that the just early part of it, for instance, butterfly, we do that twice. We don't hold it as long. So I'll set us up here. Hopefully the phone hangs on. I'll turn off the comments as well so you can see, because there is a little more movement as well. All right, so as usual, we're going to come to a comfortable cross-legged seat for our opening meditation. If you like, you can sit on a little rolled up quilt to elevate your sit bones. Just the edge of it is nice, and then you've got that slight lift and tilt of your pelvis, one foot in front of the other. Of course, if you like to lie back, then by all means do so. And if you are going to lie back, remember, feet are about hip width or about the slightly more than that edge of your mat, the narrow way. Knees rest together. Hands can be in your lap, on your belly if you're lying back, on your thighs, palms up or down if you're seated, or by your sides, palms up or down if you're lying back. Also, if you're lying back, one hand on the belly and one hand on the heart is another nice hand position. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears and then let them slide down your back, away from your ears. Tuck your chin in slightly so your back of the back of your neck lengthens, letting your eyes fall softly shut if you haven't already done so. Just settling in to your room, onto your mat, into the space that you've created for your yoga. Maybe surrounding yourself in that virtual little cloud or bubble of safety and calm, peace. So let go of your morning thus far. Let go of today, whatever's on the list of things to do. Set those busy thoughts aside just for this next hour. Try to let anxieties and worries fade away. Let the next hour be for you, your body, your mind, and your spirit. Do a body scan now. Take note if there are any areas that are maybe in need of that extra little bit of care or attention this morning. Not that you'll dwell on whatever does arise, but acknowledge it. Create a little space, forgiveness perhaps. When you check in at the end of the hour with how you're feeling, you may notice that things have subtly shifted in sensation or perspective. And start to pay attention to your breath now. Don't changing it, just observing it. Whereabouts in your chest cavity are you breathing? Noticing how fast you're breathing. And noticing whether you're breathing through your nose or your mouth, or maybe a bit of both. But then beginning to breathe in and back out through your nose. Pull the air in past the rings of your nostrils and trace its path as it flows up your nose, down your throat into your lungs, and then back out that same pathway. Follow it back up through your nose and out the rings of the nostrils. Notice the difference in temperature there at the rings of the nostrils. The air is cooler when it first enters. Notice that it's warmer when it exits. And your breath is slowing down, deepening. Maybe you can feel the belly move out on the inhale as we're getting to the bottom of the lungs. Diaphragm working. And then the belly going in on the exhale. We're going to start to even out our inhales here and also aligning our body with our breath. So as you inhale, maybe to the count of 3 or 4, drop your ear over to the left. Exhale, bring it back to center, again to about the count of 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, over to the right. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, back to center. Over to the left. Exhale, back to center. Over to the right, inhaling. Back to center. And one more time, inhale to the left. Back to center. Inhale over to the right. Back to the center. Pay attention to the rib cage now as you inhale. Notice it expand 4 directions. Watch it contract. Go deeper now to your lungs on an inhale. You can feel them expand, but think about all the sides of your lungs as they expand and contract. The fronts, the backs of your lungs. Breathe into the backs of them. Feel the backs contract as they expel waste air from every cell in our body. Follow the sides of your lungs on an inhale. Think of the inner and the outer sides thickening, taking in air and nourishing every cell in your body. It's an amazing process. Send your lungs some gratitude for their good health. Take about 3 more breaths here on your own. Going within, maybe setting your intention as well. One more breath. And then if you're lying back, make your way to one side. Pause there for a moment. Everyone can blink their eyes open and closed a few times. If you're seated, you might want to lift those knees, straighten out your legs, give them a little bounce, rock, point, and flex. And then we're going to swing around and come to all fours. Have a block or a little blanket, a quilt handy on your right side. We'll start off with some cat-cows here. Get my old phone here set up for the timer. So just arching your back like a cat, tuck your tailbone, drop your head, look for your belly button, and then drop your belly, spread the sit bones, look up. Let's do that one more time. Nice cat, arch your back, nice good stretch. Drop the belly, push through your hands, look up. And then end up with a flat back. We're going to take our right knee and slide it behind our right wrist, swivel it up so that your right foot is coming towards your left wrist. Tuck your left toes under and move that left leg back. And then you should find that you're pretty much in swan pose. Flex your foot, that'll protect the knee. If this is too hard on the knee, remember you can do this on your back quite easily. Lie down and it simulates it quite well. ankle goes above the left knee, right knee is out to the side. You can stay here if that's plenty. If you want a little more intensity in that right hip joint, as long as it's okay for the knee, bring your knee in, grab below the opposite knee. We're spending the first minute in our full swan here. If you find that you're a little crooked, this is where the quilt or the block can come in handy. Put it under that right butt cheek, and then that'll level out your pelvis. Move your torso back just a little bit, and notice what that does to the front of your left hip. You can feel it pull just a little bit more. Shows you how much the front of our hip joints, lengthening those ligaments, are involved in back bending. And you can feel that back bend happen. Now take a nice deep inhale. If you're on your back, just stay where you are. But here, if we're seated, we're going to come to, and I'm behind a chair there. Here we go. Come to sleeping swan. So walking your hands forward. Maybe this is enough to rest on your forearms, or maybe you turn your elbows up to the side. You can stack your fists to make a pillow for your head to rest on. You can stack your hands if you like. Rest your head on your forearms. If you're not using a block under your butt cheek, you can always bring it to rest your head on. And then you can relax your arms. They can just be loose with the elbows bent, or maybe you stretch them in front of you, palms down or palms together in prayer. Some of you might like to put one of your arms back, or maybe both of them. And you can always have your head on your mat if you like as well. Just wherever you come to that edge. First principle of yin is finding our edge. So a place where we're a little bit uncomfortable, but never any pain. With this one, your foot is away from your left hip joint. One day it'll come parallel, but it doesn't have to be today. Just as long as you're not sitting on your foot. And that's pigeon pose, and yin has swan pose. It's slightly different. Feel the outer rotation in your right hip that you're getting. Meanwhile, the left hip joint is stretched out into extension, but it shows you what you can do thanks to those beautiful strong ligaments that hold this femur thigh bone in place. The right leg is twisting, the left leg is straight. Now on an inhale, we're going to slowly come up. We're going to lean to one side. If you're on your back, just slowly make your way up, pausing on your side. Swing that left leg all the way around and plant it on the outside, if you can, of that right knee. And then we'll twist just for about 30 seconds or so. You're going over to the left. Bring it into your neck, if you like, by looking over that left shoulder. Try to relax your legs here. So again, you're not really pushing hard. Just a slight bit of effort there, since this is only a 30-second or so twist. Inhale back to the center. Exhale. Undo those legs. Plant your feet. Lean back on your hands. Another little bit of a yang motion here. Come to reverse table or hammock. And just hold that for a few breaths. Feel the strength in your arms, the strength in your legs. One more breath in, and then set the hips down. Drop your knees open, coming into butterfly pose. This one can aggravate sciatica, so you might want to bring that little quilt behind you. Just your sit bones on it like so. So you've got that slight lift and tilt, nothing too much. Or maybe you don't want it at all. It's totally up to you. Take an inhale, and then on the exhale, if it's okay for your low back, allow it to round as you lean forward. Don't pull, just lean. If your low back is not so good for rounding, there's some disc issues, or maybe it's aching today, keep your tummy pulled in, hinge from the hips. If this is hard on knees, use that block or two blocks. Prop under the thigh so that it can take some of the pressure off that knee. Alternately, you can put the block inside, rest your head on it like we did before with swan. Breathing in breathing out. Maybe the block feels better on your feet. Remember, and your hands can be wherever feels right, inside the diamond shape, outside. Maybe you rest your elbows on the shin bone there. Rest your head in your hands. Again, just coming to that edge, that place of comfortable discomfort, manageable, tugging in various places. Of course, if you like, you can just let your head dangle. Steady breathing. Once you've come to that place of tugging, the second principle in yin, and there are only these three, find the edge, and then the second principle is be still, physically and internally. Going into that meditative state, paying attention to what is happening, noticing when maybe you can be invited to go a little deeper. And we're trying not to back away from the discomfort. The only time we would be if it's too intense that we can't breathe quietly and steadily, or if there's pain. And then the third tattva is holding for time. We hold poses in yin for much longer than any other style of yoga. We hold for minutes. On an inhale, we're going to slowly curl back up again. Exhale when you get up there. And then we'll swing ourselves around. Come to tabletop again, all fours. Do a couple cat-cows again. Arch your back. Drop the belly. Look up. One more. Nice good arch. Push into those hands. Drop the belly. Look up. And then we're going to slide our left knee behind our left wrist. Swivel that foot up towards the right foot. Go onto your backs if it's too much for your knee again. Again, remember, if you're quite crooked, a block can be handy under this butt cheek to help level you out, and that can also give your knee a break as well. So be sure to do that, or that quilt can also work. And then make sure your foot is flexed so that that helps protect the knee. It doesn't have to be hard flexed, just slightly flexed. Remember, we spend the first minute in full swan. See if you can just rock your body just ever so slightly over towards the right, and you'll notice too that increases the pressure in the front of your your right hip, that extension feeling. And then you can also do what we did before, back up just a little bit with your torso. Hands can be on that leg as I had, or you can have them on the mat if you like as well. Whatever works for you. Be aware that your shoulders aren't all tight and engaged. Try to relax them. Close your eyes. Enjoy this lovely back bend you're getting, kind of a fanning out shape that you might feel there in the low back, sacrum area. Take an inhale now. And on the exhale, we'll come to sleeping swan, walking down slowly. Again, remember, take your time. You can rest on your forearms if you prefer. Stay here. This increases that compression in that left hip joint, so easy does it. Don't stay with any pain. If you want, rest your head on a block or on your hands, on your mat. Stack your fists if that feels better. Palms can be down on your mat. Bend your elbows if you like. Don't stay with any kind of tingling in your shoulders. Maybe you stretch them out, palms down, or maybe you put your palms together in prayer. Remember, you can always bring one or both of your arms back by your torso as well. In and out, breathing through the nose. You can always use the ocean breath in any pose. That helps to kick in your parasympathetic nervous system, that calming part. That's where yin gives your nervous system a little bit of a workout, because there's poses that we really don't like, that we really may find quite uncomfortable, and yet we're being asked to be calm and still ocean breath is that HA sound in the back of your throat. Just like you're fogging up glasses to clean them or a mirror. But in order to keep our mouth okay and not dried out from having our lips apart, we put our lips together and we send that ha sound through your nose. A little bit like Darth Vader sound. Now on an inhale, slowly bring yourself back up. Exhale, shift whatever's underneath that left butt cheek so you can shift your weight over to that side. Swing that right leg all the way around, and you might want to, if you're like me, ended up on the floor, you might want to swivel a bit so you can have it on your mat. And then we're going to twist over to the right. Looking over your right shoulder. Feeling out what that does to the abdomen, trying to relax your legs. On your next inhale, slowly unwind back to the center. Undo those legs, plant them. Here's where we go up into that reverse table or hammock position. So push into those arms, push into your feet, feel the muscles kind of wrap themselves back around the bones. It's like we pull our skeleton, well, we literally do pull our skeleton apart with these long holds. That's Sarah Power's words, and she's absolutely right. Set your bum down, turn your feet so their foot soles are together, let the knees flare out, and you have kind of like a diamond shape here, so you might want to move your feet a little further forward. Again, remember, sit on a rolled up quilt to elevate your sit bones if you have any kind of sciatica issues. And then take an inhale, and on the exhale, allow yourself to round forward, coming into butterfly, round 2. Notice that you might find that this one feels a little bit less creaky. Maybe it's easier, maybe you drop down and you find that you're a little further forward than when the first time that we did this. Thanks to warming up some of those other areas of the body with swan pose on both sides now. Breathing in, breathing out. Another little mantra you can use to keep your mind inside your body when it, or bring it back when it wanders, because it will. Breathe in, slow down, breathe out, let go. When we suggest that letting go, the body actually does relax a little bit more. Not quite one more minute here. Our thought for this morning comes from William Arthur Ward. And he wrote, "When we seek to discover the best in others, we somehow bring out the best in ourselves." When we seek to discover the best in others, we somehow bring out the best in ourselves. Last breath. And then on an inhale, slowly curl your way back up. Exhaling when you get all the way up. And then we're going to swing around again onto all fours. Reset this. And from here, we're going to turn our right palm up, sweep it up to the ceiling, and then feed it through, coming into threading the needle pose. So your bum is up high in the air and you're resting on your side of your head and your shoulder.
I don't stay here very long. Some of you might find that you want to go a little deeper and you want to bring your left arm around and wrap it behind your waist. Feel free. Make sure you're stable on your knees. Inhale, if your arm is behind you, unwrap it, plant it, coming up. And we go right into plank here. We're going to step back with our right foot. Give ourselves stability here. If you need to, move your left foot back behind you to help you be stable. Sweep your arm up into the sky, and we do the yin version of a side plank. Feel that line of energy right from the outside edge of that right foot, zooming up the outside line of your leg to your hip, through your ribs, underarm, along your arm right to your fingertips. Lovely big stretch and line of energy. Take one more breath, and then slowly with control set that right hand down, and then we're going to step with our right foot where that right hand was. So we come into dragon's pose here, so move your left leg back much like we did in swan, just till you start to feel that nice tugging sensation through that left hip joint. You've got some compression going on in the right hip. Remember, you can be on fingertips here. If that's a little bit too intense, you can either do fists or you can do flat hands. If you have trouble getting your hands flat onto the mat, blocks or a block can be good. Usually it's the right hand, the one on the outside of that leg, that can't quite get to the mat. So put a block under one or both of your hands. And then relax your legs. And notice how that increases the pull through the left hip joint and the pressure of compression in the right hip joint. So easy does it here. Doesn't have to be off the chart sensation. We just want to feel it. Your head is either looking forward about a meter on the floor in front of you, or it can look down if you like, or you can totally let it dangle. This one is a great one where the ocean breath, that HA sound, can help you. Now we'll come to high flying dragon. So inhale and come up. We only hold these for a minute each. Here, make sure you're not pushing on that thigh, that you're just kind of relaxing. Maybe one arm feels good just to let it dangle. Or maybe both of them like to be relaxed, resting lightly on that thigh. This is a bit of a balance pose, so find a place to gaze at. And you'll notice that your leg muscles are working here to hold you up. You don't have the support of your arms. If you find that cramping happens in this right thigh, just come back to that first baby dragon that we did, so you can relax your legs, things can settle down, and then maybe you come back up again. Or maybe you stay in the baby dragon. Inhale, and then on the exhale, bring your hands to the inside of your foot. And here, we're going to lower down into low flying dragon. Blocks can be great here to rest your forearms on like this. Or maybe you come down to the mat. Maybe neither is available, but you can just bend your elbows a little bit and move your torso a little lower. The idea is that you're lowering your body down a little bit, which again increases the sensation in both hip joints. The extension, the pulling that's happening in the left, the compression that's happening in the right hip joint. Try to keep that right foot nice and firm, planted on the mat. Relax your jaw. One more breath. On an inhale, slowly come up, tuck those back toes under, push your hips that feel like they're never going to move again, up and back, straightening out that right front leg. Bring your right hand on the outside of that leg, rock up onto the heel. This is called half splits. Should feel fantastic. You can feel that warmth, cool, buzzing lovely spearmint feeling flowing through your legs and your hips. And then we'll pull your leg back down, set your knees down. Again, just take a moment and on all fours here to enjoy that spearmint feeling. It's fabulous. You worked hard to get there. And then sink back to child's pose, just for 30 seconds or so, just letting your body absorb the benefits of that pose, enjoying the rebound or the echo of it. Dragons are deep work in the hip joints, but so good for our hip joints. Largest joint in our body, largest ligaments, lots of issues buried in those tissues. On your next inhale, slowly come forward, back onto all fours. And we'll do that little sequence again on the left side this time. So we'll start with turning our palm up, our left palm up, sweep it up, opening wide, and then feed it on through, coming to rest on the side of your left shoulder this time, side of your head. Again, if you wrapped before and you want to wrap this time, then feel free to do that. Nothing intense, you don't have to be pulling or anything, just relaxing. If you find that it's pushing your glasses, as I am, a little bit into the side of your nose, you might want to take them off or just tilt your head a little bit. Inhale, bring that arm back down. Come back all the way up to all fours. And then we stretch out our left leg this time, planting it on your mat. Remember, you can swivel that right foot back for a little bit more balance if you like. Sweep, opening up wide here. Turn your head if it's okay for your neck. Look to the outstretched left hand. Feel that line of energy now from the outside edge of that left foot. Feel it zoom up this outside of your leg, charging up your whole left side of your body, zigzagging maybe up the rib cage to the armpit and all the way down the arm to those left fingers. Feel how powerful you are. One more breath in. And then exhale, bring that left hand down and bring your left foot forward to where that left hand was. Tuck your right toes under, move that right foot back, set the top of the foot down. This is baby dragon, and remember that that block can be very handy on the left side to give your arm a little bit more length, especially if you tend to have, as I do, believe it or not, short as I am, my legs are a little bit on the long side. You can be on your flat hands here. You can be on fingertips. You can be on fists. If you do switch hand position, not a problem. Just make sure that, again, you relax your legs once you figure out or come to in the new hand position. Your head is looking forward a little bit or down or even just dropping. That feels good for the back of your neck. Whatever feels right for you this morning. Keep trying to relax your legs as much as you can, but listen to your breath. The breath will let you know if you're at an appropriate depth, so don't go into too intense of an edge. Now inhale, bring yourself up for a high flying dragon. This is the one where you just rest your hands or your forearms lightly on that thigh. Find a spot to gaze at on the floor. That'll help keep your balance. Relaxing your legs. They'll kick in a little bit more because you need them for support. And remember that little trick too. If you find that there's cramping happening in the legs, then come forward to that baby dragon pose. You can always have one arm dangling if that feels better. Try to relax your shoulders. Use that ocean breath. It literally works with the nervous system, helping to kick that parasympathetic part in. Now inhale, bring your hands to the inside of this foot. Coming to low flying dragon. This is maybe plenty for you this morning, or maybe you bend your elbows a little bit and lower your torso. Maybe you come to rest on a block. Remember, there's lots of sides to the block, so putting it on a higher side might allow you to take some of the pressure off your wrists and rest onto your forearms. You can always, some of you might come right down to your mat, as long as it's not a struggle. Remember, we're looking for comfortable, manageable discomfort. As Bernie Clark likes to say, it's an intelligent stress on our joints, on our fascia, on our ligaments. Intelligent. There's no hero stuff here. Just steady tugging. As long as you can breathe calmly and steadily, maybe revisiting that intention you set at the beginning, maybe checking in with how you're feeling right now. Now inhale, come up onto all fours, well, not all fours yet, but tuck your back toes under, lift those hips up and back, coming into half splits. Get your left hand on the outside of that left leg. Take a breath or two here, maybe rock up onto the heel to give the hamstring a really nice tug. Should feel fantastic. And then bring that left leg back down. And now we're on all fours. Stay still for a breath or two or three, just enjoying the echo of the pose, the spearmint feeling rushing through your hips. Know how much good you did increasing the circulation there. And then sink back to child's pose. Just taking about a 30-second regrouping here. Noticing how you're feeling. Not only does that remove toxins by compressing an area and then releasing it, just like deep tissue massage does, but with your yogic breathing, you actually raise the level of oxygen in your blood. And so when we release and the blood can rush into those constricted areas, it's actually nourishing the joint capsule and all inside there with richer, fresh blood. Slowly come up out of child's pose. This next one is an inversion pose. No, it's not a headstand. But if you shouldn't be going upside down for any kind of blood pressure or perhaps eye issues, I know I've been there, then you can easily do this seated. So quickly we're going to go from down dog and we'll go into dangling pose with our head dangling like that. But if that's not good for you, then you are going to sit with your legs like this and do the exact same thing, but you're just seated. So the pose will look identical. It just takes the inversion part out of it. So that's your option. If you're okay for being inverted, tuck your toes under and push up to downward facing dog. Just giving your hamstrings a nice stretch here. Stay still for a moment. Maybe walk those legs after you've had that stillness. And then here, we're going to walk our hands back. Make sure that I stay on camera. Walk your hands back to your feet. If you get here and you find, oh, I don't like this, don't stand up. Walk forward, drop your knees down. If you come right up to a standing position from bent over, you can get a lightheadedness, and we don't want anybody fainting at home ever. So your feet are about fist width, 2 fist widths apart. So they're nice and stable. Feel all 4 corners of your feet. Your dangling might not look like mine, so don't worry about that. Maybe it is more here, and that's totally fine. You can rest your hands on your thighs if you like. You can just let your arms dangle if you like. That's totally fine. remember, you want to feel this in your back as a tugging, not too crazy intense. You'll feel it up the hamstrings. Those of you that are runners and cyclists will definitely feel this in your hamstrings. It's actually quite nice. So this, you can clasp opposite elbows if you like, or like I showed with your higher up, you can just let your hands dangle if they come to the mat. Just let them relax. We're not pulling at all. You can even, if you like, clasp a wrist behind you if that feels good. But whatever gives you the maximum downward effect of gravity. So maybe just having your arms dangle feels really good and should feel nice through the shoulders. Shake your head, nod your head, make sure your head is nice and loose. Relax your jaw. My very first yin teacher had a lovely analogy for this pose. Feel the strength in your feet, first of all, planted firmly, all four corners of them, rooting down into the earth. But think of your cliffs, your legs, she would say, as the cliff, and your torso as a waterfall flowing over that cliff. So just letting your torso flow. Legs are the cliff. Strong. Don't lock into the back of your knees. Just feel that strength. So not hyperextending here. Last breath. Exhale. Planting your hands, we crawl right back down like we came up. Drop the knees. If you're on your back or on your seated, you just come up to a seated position, L shape, staying still. If you were on your feet, then we're staying in on all fours just to let everything settle down. And then from here, we're going to go directly into frog pose. And there's lots of options here for frog pose. So you're on your all fours. To get into it, put your elbows where your hands are. So right away you've lowered your torso. And then in this particular flow, we go directly into frog pose. With Bernie's flows, usually he builds you up into that. So frog pose, if you want to go directly into it, you turn your feet out, get your knees going apart. If they go onto the floor, that can be nice for them to slide, but sometimes it's a little hard on the inside of the knees. And you just drop your torso down. You try to keep your bum back. Don't let yourself come forward. You can rest on your chin, or you can rest your head on your hands. You definitely will want to take your glasses off for this one. So you're keeping your bum going back, and as you see, your feet are turned out Charlie Chaplin style, and you let your knees flow apart. The tendency is to want to come forward, because that lessens the intensity, or the tendency is to want to come forward because it lessens the intensity in your groin and in the hip joints. Here you have lots of options as well. When you want to come out, you want to slide forward. You can put a block under your ribs and then rest on that. If that's not good, use a cushion to rest your torso on, and then have your legs apart. Coming forward here already. If this is too intense to go directly in, do wide-legged pose of the child. Knees are wide apart with the edges of your mat, and your toes are together. Sit on a block back there if you can't sit on your heels. No problem. And then come down, maybe rest on your chin. Maybe it's your forehead, and that's your version of frog, and you don't have your ankles turned out Charlie Chaplin style. So no problem at all. We're going to be here for another 2 minutes. A cushion, nice big cushy one like this can be really good too under your torso. If you're leaving your legs out with the knees coming apart. This is very intense in the groin, so easy does it. Remember, you're trying to keep your bum back. And if you're in that wide-legged pose of the child, if you want at any point, you can come forward a little bit and raise your bum up into the air And then see if you can start to maybe let your knees go a little further apart. That's only if you want to. If you've got plenty going on, then stay there. This is another intense one for the hips, so make sure you're using your ocean breath. If it's too intense and you need to come out, go forward onto your tummies, and then you straighten one leg at a time by curling the toes under. Push through the heel. That releases your hip joint in a really nice way. You can hear my knees sliding a little bit on the floor. Definitely one for the ocean breath. About 15 seconds left. Now to come out, if you're on your tummy and you're in the frog, you slide forward, tuck your toes under, push through one heel, and then do that with the other one, pushing through the heel. Rock over that pelvis, bringing your legs back together. That's definitely one where we feel a little broken. Rest your forehead on your stacked hands. Just be still for a few breaths here. Enjoy the echo of that intense pose, maybe through your low back as well as all through the hips. And then whatever you feel like, you can just stay still, or maybe raise your feet up in the air and do windshield wipers back and forth. When things have settled down, let your legs come back on down. Just taking a few more breaths here. And then we'll come into a back bend, Sphinx pose. So coming up onto your forearms, kid watching TV pose. If this is too intense for your back, remember there's the baby cobra version. So lie your ribs back down and put your hands under your shoulders, and your nose is just a few inches off the mat, and that's a back bend as well. And if that's even too intense, just lying with your forehead on your stacked hands is a gentle, small back bend to start off with. So lots of versions here. Stability is nice to have your elbows under your shoulders, more or less, but this is yin. We're not doing any kind of intense pushing, so it's not not absolutely key. If it feels better to have them a little forward, then do that. Your hands are palms down, palms together in prayer, or clasp opposite elbows. That's another option, so whatever feels right for you this morning. Same with your head. Relaxing your bum and your legs here too. Feel the work that goes into your back. Look in front of your hands, maybe in front of your mat, about a meter length again for your head, and that'll keep your spine in line. But maybe it feels better to look down where your hands are, down at your mat. That feels better for your neck, so do that. Or again, the option of letting your head just dangle. Some people like to do that. Put a slight amount of pressure into those elbows, but nothing very much. Just a little bit here to increase the sensation in your low back. Breathing. You can enhance this pose by breathing along your spine. Begin at the base of your tailbone, travel up the back of your spine with your mind's eye as you inhale, right to the base of your skull. Now as you exhale, travel down the front of your spine, behind your throat, behind your heart and lungs, behind all those abdominal, pelvic organs, right back to the front of the tailbone. Inhale up the back. Exhale down the front of your spine. Bum is relaxed. from here, you can take it a little deeper for this. We're at the halfway mark. If you want to go to seal pose, you can straighten into your arms, coming up quite a bit higher, pushing into those arms so you're rising up, or hunching down into the shoulders so you're draping into the shoulder girdle. Either one is okay. If that's too intense, stay with your on your forearms. Maybe you float the feet up into the air, but make sure it's a sweet spot so that the bum can still relax, the legs are still relaxed. Maybe that's not quite enough, but you still want a little more. Just open the legs. And both of those leg positions can happen if you're in seal as well. So you can do seal with the legs apart, or you can have your legs floating up in the air if you like in seal as well. Totally up to you. Listen to your breath. For this last minute, again, if you like, you can bring it into your neck. Tuck your chin so you feel how that lengthens the back of the neck, and then lift your chin as if you're going up and over a tennis ball. You feel a lovely pull in the front of your neck. This stimulates your thyroid gland as well. Don't stay here if there's any neck pain. Don't stay here if you start to feel a dizziness at all. Some people have the carotid artery getting pinched off when they do this. So bring your head back to neutral if that's your case, if it doesn't feel right. Relax your bum, relax your legs. Ride that breath in and out. Imagining maybe a wave coming in gently to the shore as you inhale, and then receding on the exhale. Now take a nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, slowly come all the way back down. Turn those elbows out to the side, stack your hands, rest your forehead on your stacked hands, puff your low breath back out with your breath. That helps to release it. And then you have options. You can turn your head to one side if you like, and then whatever way you're looking, drag that same leg up alongside you so you're lying with one bent and one straight. If you prefer to have some movement, you might want to bend at the knees and wave those legs back, windshield wiper style, back and forth. Do a little bit of both of those, or just lying still. And then from here, we're going to roll over onto our backs for our twists. Arms are going to come out to a T. Bend in both of your knees and drop them slowly over to the right. You might want to scoot your right hip under a little bit. You can bring a block. Excuse me. You can bring a block over it and put it between your knees like that if you like, or maybe it's underneath the bottom knee for them to rest on. Try to keep both your shoulders in contact with your mat. You can turn your head and look to the outstretched left hand if you like as well. You can reach down with your right hand and rest it on the upper knee. Maybe the fingers go into the pit of the knee. And if you like, here you have options. You might want to straighten out the top leg, slide down as long as it's just completely passive and relaxed and you're not feeling any kind of stress or effort. Or maybe it's the bottom leg that you straighten out and bring that top leg over. Whatever feels right for you this morning. Twists release tension that might have built up in the body, in your spine, in particular. Now inhale those legs back to the center. Plant your foot soles. Push into them. So you lift your hips into the air off your mat. That realigns your spine. And then do what you did on the first side on this second side. So if you kept both knees together, then you're dropping them over to this other side. turning your head and looking to the outstretched right hand. If you straightened out that top leg, do that. Or if it was the bottom leg that got straight. And then maybe reach down, fingers in the pit of the knee. Twists also work with the nervous system, helping to restore that equilibrium between parasympathetic and sympathetic. So we have that all is well sensation through our bodies. On an inhale, slowly unwind, come back to the center, plant those foot soles once more, push into them, lifting your hips off your mat, and then bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your shins, give yourself a hug, rock over that spine, massaging. Take your time here. And then when you're ready, let your legs float on down. Covering up with a blanket, slipping on a hoodie if you like. Getting ready for final relaxation. Tuck your chin in slightly to lengthen the back of the neck. Take in a nice deep breath. With a sigh, let it go. Do that one more time. Deep breath in. Let it go. Sink into your mat, just like you're lying in some warm sand. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Float away maybe to a happy place or stay within watching the energies. But whatever you do, choose, take rest. Let your body now absorb the benefits of your practice in Shavasana. Thank you so very much for being here with me this morning. I do appreciate each one of you. May the light in me humbly honor the light in each one of you. See you next week on Tuesday. Namaste.